Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're switching it up by doing some physical art because I have an incredibly long list that I've been meaning to do, and I've been wanting to put together a series of sorts where I go through the list and finally mark off some of the projects. So today we're going to be starting with some sculpting. I've been wanting to make some sort of art involving all of my favorite Pokemon for a while now, so a while back I made a list of my favorite Pokemon as I was going to make an illustration of me with them, but that's been put on the back burner for right now. Instead, I decided to sculpt them. There are a couple of these Mon that are going to be harder to sculpt than others for a variety of reasons. Solosis, I have an idea for, but I don't want to learn how to deal with resin, so that one's going to take a while until I can hand him off to someone who does know resin. Meowscarada, well, I'm just scared to do something that difficult right off the bat. While I have sculpted some more challenging things in the past, like these two, I haven't sculpted a lot since I was a teenager, so Meowscarada will be a little later down the line. And then for Psyduck, I'm not going to be sculpting him at all, not because he's particularly difficult or anything, but actually because I've already done it twice before. Once as a teenager, and then I forgot that I made one as a teenager, so then I made one just a couple years ago too, and I don't need a third Psyduck figure. So he's not actually going to be added to the wheel of ones I'm going to make. Speaking of the wheel, I loaded the rest of these Mons into a randomizer. This randomizer might change a bit, as there's a chance I add more Pokemon to it. Even now, as I'm writing the script, I ended up adding a couple more Mons to the wheel, but those will be revealed next video. Also, I did say Solosis is one of the harder ones, but he is still on the wheel because I will sculpt him. He'll just take longer to make because I have to ship him off somewhere. But anyways, let's give the wheel a spin, and we got Spinarak.
Spinarak, the string-spit Pokemon.
So I did accidentally record the entire process vertically, and I didn't think about it until I started editing. But I wanted to make this a longer video instead of another short, so it's just gonna have to be vertical. I'm sorry about that. I will do horizontal next video. For now, let's get to my crafting desk, which is a tad bit messy right now, so let's get that clean up. Two of my cats have decided to, help in this process. So first I have to temper the clay to get it nice and pliable, and this step took a little while, so I'll just cut it down to the last bit, where I decided the best way to do this was just to smack it a bunch of times, because I had two balls of tempered clay that I needed to mash together. I keep trying to do aluminum insides for clay figures, because I know it'll make it lighter and it helps save on clay, but I have almost never trusted the process enough to actually keep it. Almost every single time I ended up ripping out the aluminum because I just can't get it to look right. The one exclusion to this is when I sculpted this Bill Cipher statue from the Book of Bill. I do think I kept the aluminum material in this, because otherwise he would be a very dense figure, which granted the Spinarak doesn't end up using a lot of clay anyways, but I don't know, it seems like a good time saver. Probably just gonna keep repeating not actually using this method though. After giving up on the aluminum inside, I make two round balls for the head and the body, and then I use my circle cutter to take a chunk out of the body to give space for the head to sit in. And then a third kitty decided to come help me with my sculpting project, so I give her a quick little hug and back to sculpting while she just chills there. Next up is sculpting the facial parts of Spinarak, so we get his horns and his little pincers. Pincers? Now, throughout the series of me sculpting my favorite Pokemon, you're going to see that I actually don't know a lot about them. I said in my Pombon video that I don't really play a lot of Pokemon games. I've only ever finished Legend ZA, and past that I played like a bit of Pokemon Go, a bit of Pearl, and I currently play TCG Pocket, but I only really collect cards as I really dislike doing the battles. My main interest with Pokemon is to take the cards and complete the art on them, like this. Next up is his legs. I just took a roll of clay and cut it to size and then added a little indent in the middle to make that joint, and rinse and repeat that for 5 more legs. Also, despite definitely being a spider, his name is Spinnerack. He hangs on a web. He only has 6 legs? I tried looking it up and the only thing I could really see is that it was just more visually appealing in a design, so I don't know. Next it's time to just attach everything to the body, which starts by taking the legs and making sure all pairs are about the same length, and then just slowly attaching all of it. So my enjoyment of Pokemon is entirely just through the aesthetics of it. So that reason I clearly just like Spinnerack for the aesthetics. Him and Joltik are the cutest bug Pokemon, and I know Joltik isn't on this list. He might get added later. I made this list like a year ago and I'm only now just getting to do anything with it, so... also he kinda seems like a pain in the ass to sculpt because he's just really spiky. But that's kinda besides the point. It's not like I've never made a tiny spiky guy out of clay before. And I know I've already shown off a couple of the things I've sculpted in the past, but I've made some pretty neat things when I was younger, so if you'd like to see them, just let me know. Since the only real reason for liking Spinnerack is the vibes, I did try to find some fun facts about him. Firstly, did you know that Ariados, his evolution, is 3 feet tall? No spider needs to be that big. Like, imagine you're just chilling in the woods, walking around in the grass, and you come across a 3-foot tall spider. I think I'd just simply perish on the spot. Past that, I couldn't really find too much cool about him. He's a spider. Every fact you look up about him is just stuff that spiders do. 2 of the most interesting are that he's based off of an orb weaver spider, which I'm not showing y'all, cause... well, I like Spinnerack. I am kind of arachnophobic, so you'll just look that up yourself. And then I also saw that Officer Jenny often uses Spinnerack to help solve crimes in the anime, which is kind of funny to me, as again, as an arachnophobe, if a cop was using a spider that big, I'd probably cave pretty quick. So while Spinnerack isn't nearly as big as Ariados, it's a 1-foot spider. I'm good. After attaching everything to Spinnerack, I decided I did want to give him eyes instead of just painting them on, because I thought it'd look more cartoony and cute. I tried rolling out a tube of clay and slicing it from there, but it just kept squishing the clay into an oval instead of a circle, so I just rolled out the clay and cut my own circles out of it, and I think it worked pretty well. One more Spinnerack thing I found is his Gen 2 sprites. The colors on it are so cool. He's just like a little emo spider. Between this and his shiny sprite, I kind of wish I painted him one of those 2 ways, but it's a bit late now. I also kind of wish I sculpted him to be like climbing on a web or something, but that's kind of what I get for just starting this project without actually planning anything, so maybe with the next Mon I make I will actually design them doing something instead of just sculpting them. Alright, and then I put the boy in the oven. He sits there and bakes for like 15 minutes. I also have to show this fun fact from facts.net, because like, when I say all of the facts are just yup, he's a spider, I mean, they say his cry is like a high-pitched insect noise. Maybe because he's an insect. Like, I love Spinnerack, but I'm really learning that there's not many fun facts about him. So now it's time to paint him. and while I was trying to show off my paintbrushes, I ended up knocking some of them onto the floor. I think they just fell out. I started by mixing up this light green, which I ended up changing like 3 times throughout this painting, because colors just weren't quite right. I started just covering his whole body, but then I remembered the yellow that I have is quite transparent and will need just a bunch of layers to actually show and to cover the green. I also realized I should probably show the paints I'm using. For projects like this, I just use the apple barrel paints because they're easy to find and quite cheap. You also get a sneak peek at my apron there, which I've had this apron for probably about 8 years now. I low-key stole it from my mom because she had like 3 of these exact same aprons, and I've absolutely destroyed it since. Now, I'm kind of an impatient painter, so while I probably should have waited for the green to dry before painting his legs, I'm not going to because I already know how many layers this guy is going to need, and I want to speed that along. I cannot tell you how much waiting and layering I cut out of this video. And then some of my kitties decided to play on my desk, which I can't have right now because I'm doing a lot, so remove her from the desk. And then I decided I wanted to show you all the kitty that's been chilling with me before getting right back to painting. Well, yeah, like I said, I figured I'd show you all the first layer, but then not make you suffer through however many other layers it took me. So, a few moments later, and now it's time for the blue parts of Spinnerack. Coloring his legs and then his cute little butt face. The part was kind of challenging because I wanted to make the straight lines on his legs, but I'm not sure I succeeded in making them as straight as I could, but I also didn't realize the blue on his butt is just a line around. I thought like his entire end of his butt was blue, and so I keep even now expecting me to fill that in. Because this entire time I've kind of just thought it was entirely blue. I'm also really happy that he can kind of stand on his own and not be like stuck on his belly all the time, because the way I cooked him made it so that his legs could dangle off of the little metal circle, and it made it so that he could actually stand up. And then I was going to do a resin coat on him, but when I checked the drawer that had the resin in it, the lid had apparently not been closed entirely, and it had at some point tipped over and spilled entirely all over my desk drawer. This photo was taken after my fiance helped me clean that up, so I might resin him later as I've ordered some more of it, but if I do, I'll show that next video. And then I took him outside for this silly little photo shoot. And I'm really happy with how he turned out. I think he's really cute. Anyways, while I was checking the photos that I took, he fell off the bush. But that's all for this video. Let me know what you think and what Pokemon you're excited to see next in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this different medium of art. I do all sorts of different crafts, and I really need to get through them. So I hope to be able to show you all some more projects and actually get the list taken care of. Assuming I don't add 5 more to every one that I've finished. I know I've already added 2 or 3 more since I finished sculpting the Spinnerack, so it's not looking great. But like I said earlier, I've already added a couple more mods to the wheel, so look forward to seeing that in the next Pokemon video. I say that because there's an entire chance I do a different crafting video in between this Pokemon and the next Pokemon video, but we'll see. And if you liked this video, go subscribe to see whenever I post next. And if you like gaming content or want to see me occasionally draw live, go check out my Twitch account at Starry-Headed Ghost. And I also have a VODs channel here on YouTube at Starry-Headed Ghost VODs, and I'll link both of them in the description. Thanks for watching!